My assistant manager ran to the door and was going to pull down the bleachers, and that's when she seen the cop out there shooting.
Tonight, Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey tells us Wilson was on duty and in full uniform when he stopped into this GameStop store in the shopping plaza at 22nd and Lehigh. After he was already inside, officials say two armed men burst in and announced a robbery. It's not clear if they knew Wilson was an officer when he engaged them and gunfire erupted.
Whoever was in the rain in GameStop, they both was shooting out, and he was like shooting in, and then he was running across the lot.
Officials say Wilson fell to the ground, being shot at from both sides, but he continued to fire until he was struck by the fatal bullet. His partner, seen here, rushed in and exchanged fire with the men as well. During the shootout, one of the suspects was struck by a bullet, but it's not clear which officer hit him. For neighbor Jay Rodriguez, it all defies explanation.
It's tragic. I can't believe that the world's come to this.
I have grown fatigued and dismayed at the wholesale piling on of American law enforcement in the last several months. How every time a police officer engages a citizen, videos flash around the world in seconds detailing the brutal tactics of someone merely seeking to drive a skull into the ground, shoot a so-called innocent, bring fear to a community by allegedly using that badge to be another bullethead looking to play the game of cop beat someone to a pulp just because they can. I go into such detail because there are times when what I said is true. There are cops, male and female, black and white, of Asian and Middle Eastern descent, and much more, who do abuse the badge, who do go over the top, and who do see their power as an extension of their bovine excrement machismo. And they're the ones who deserve to be arrested, punished to the fullest extent of the law and maybe a little bit more, shamed and rebuked by society in every form possible. But lost every time one of these cell phone videos roar for all to see is the fact those who abuse their authority are the very few, the rare occurrence in light of how many hundreds of thousands of people put their lives on the line every day to protect those who will never know who they are, except maybe in death. When we hear about those moments, they were just doing their job and executed by the vermin who prowl our streets, the human filth that far outnumbers the cops every single day, that is often better armed and goes seeking blood whenever and wherever possible just because they can. It takes those viral seconds for broadcasters, writers, reporters, pundits, critics, entertainers, phony reverends, and the rest to hammer away at those abuse videos and reports with no knowledge whatsoever of context of what happened in the seconds before someone hit record, but are eager to jump on it, to be the first on Facebook or Twitter to start a movement, one that is more often than not based on a lack of fact and bald-faced lies. These are the people who can't wait to make a name for themselves, noting that there needs to be a change in America, and it has to start with law enforcement. Yet they are never willing to look deeper into the issue and point fingers at their own communities and often at themselves.
Police say 15-year-old Tefine Hamilton pulled the trigger, shooting 51-year-old James Stolman one time in the chest.
He should be considered armed and extremely dangerous.
The married man and father of a young daughter was gunned down last Thursday night while walking his dog near his Overbrook home. Investigators say Hamilton, along with 15-year-old Brandon Smith and a 14-year-old, first targeted one man to rob, then spotted Stolman walking his Labradoodle.
He was a lot older than the first potential victim, and as they stated, his dog looked weak or soft.
Stolman usually walked his dog with his daughter, but last Thursday it was just before 9, and the 51-year-old, neighbors say, told his daughter to stay home because it was too late.
Just thank God that his daughter wasn't with him. You know, that was one of the main things that, you know, a lot of people really thinking about.
Minutes later, police say Stolman was confronted by the teens, and there was a brief struggle.
At one point he did plead for his life. He said, "Please don't shoot me, please don't shoot me," and they still shot him one time.
An unarmed man walking his dog, shot to death by 3 kids, 2 15-year-olds and 1 14-year-old, out looking for someone to rob and kill for kicks, leaving the man dead on the street, clutching the leash of his dog. The pet police later found trembling alongside his dead master's body. They didn't just have a brain flash about it, they thought about it, planned it, carried out the execution. It was a learned behavior from somewhere or someone. I'll wager you never heard about these stories, because it would be too easy to call out the deadbeat and pathetic parents and violence-loving role models kids and people today worship, the ones who could stop such senseless violence before it had a chance to fester, yet do nothing except blame anyone and everyone else for bullets flying and bodies falling. The real vermin of a troubled society. That's my opinion, telling it like it is. Rock on, true believers. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with more The Arena and more of Questioning Everything on Friday here on MidPoint.